Hello, good morning, students. Hope all of you can hear me properly. Welcome to the database design and implementation course. Okay, here we are going to start our database design and implementation studies. Okay, we are going to continue from the first session. Okay, we have prepared presentations from the first session. Okay, our first session is giving an introduction regarding to databases. Okay, first we will see what is a database, right? And hope all of you know about, hope all of you have basic idea about these things. And you can't hear me properly, you can send me a message. Okay? If you have any problems, you can send me messages. Then first thing we should need to understand is what is data and what is information. Okay, these are very basic concepts in computer science, information technology, or ICT. And when we focused on data, we can call them as they are as raw facts. What does it mean by raw? Raw means it is unprocessed, right? And not yet been processed then, right? Then so you can understand, so where we can collect data, that means raw facts, unprocessed things, we can, from where we can collect, for an example, okay, then marks for your, or grades for your, for an example, we can consider for a data, for a grade, for your course, for this course, database course. So grade maybe A plus, or B plus, that kind of things. So that kind of thing we can consider as data. Then okay, then we were discussing about data, and we know that now their raw facts mean unprocessed facts. And also, when considering about information, we know after processing data, we can generate information. So these are the examples. So we can consider. So here you can see in this scenario, ABC company tracks all the sales of a company through invoices. Each invoice contains raw facts. Raw facts mean you know that they are information, data. And so these are the data in this example. Okay, then you know that they are raw facts. Raw facts mean you know you can understand that they have been collected from some place, right? And then they are just data. Okay, then that means collected from some place mean just copy paste or that kind of thing have been has been performed there, right? After that, then after collecting all of this data, then after that person who is processing these things or admin know that kind of person can process these things. So after processing, then so there may be different ways, different software can be used for process these data. And after process these data, you can generate information. So very simple concept, these things. Okay, then here this example, then same example. So we were discuss about data, and when we have data, then we can process them. So I told that the person who is processing that data can be follow different approaches. So according to his requirements, final goal, he can manage these data, he can handle these data, he can process these things in different ways. Here, one way that these data can be performed, processed. So after processing that data, so we can generate this kind of graphs. It is one kind of information that it is generated. Then these data, this information can be used for what kind of purposes? So what is the advantage of having this kind of information? So main advantage is you can make decisions very easily than referring these kind of data, right? And they can save these outputs and they can reuse them for changing and make decisions kind of thing. So not only decisions, studying about some institute for students or management of the staff can we use this information, then that is the advantage of producing information. But we know that to produce data, we have to provide accurate information. When you provide, when you feed, when you input accurate data, then only you can generate accurate information. So if you feed wrong inputs, that means wrong data, it would generate wrong information. So we know that decision making important. And to make good decisions, we know that there shouldn't be good data and good data processing techniques and data handling persons, managing person. They should need to know about the way how properly deal with these data and how properly generate this information, right? So these are the key points regarding to the things we have mentioned at the beginning, at the very beginning of this course. So here the course name we were discuss about so data design and implementation, right? So database design and implementation. And then you know that design means how it can be designed starting from to the end. All the processes are there, okay? And implementation kind of things. So before that, before learn about database, okay? So database has different definition, but before that, before study about databases, we should know about what is data and what is information. Okay. These are, all we know that these things are very basic information, but it is better to mention these kind of basic things before before go through the other things, right? So now we know about data and information and how they can be produced and why they are important. Okay, how they can produce in efficient way, right? And accurate way. Then what are the things we have to focus while we are generating information, while we are feeding in data, okay, while we are displaying them, okay, while we are managing them, or while we are appointing persons for manage them. So these kind of key areas are very important to handle these data and information. Okay, finally, we know that we should needed to be generate databases. Okay, but before complete that task, we have to go through these things. So timely and useful information requires good data, then and data must be generated properly, stored properly, and easy to access and retrieve and easy to process. Now we can understand new things are mentioning here, then data generated properly, data stored properly, and easy to access and retrieve and process. Okay. Then if you need to generate something properly, if you need to store something properly, and if you need to access and retrieve them, or if you need to process them, okay. And you think about your real world scenario, okay, in day-to-day life. If we are needed to store something, or if we are needed to get back something, or if we are needed to change them, we have to manage them properly, right? Not only data. For an example, okay, then when you are at home, so when you are keeping something in proper way, when you are storing them in proper way, when you are needed to close them and lock some valuable things. So very important. So data, we have to handle data also in that way. Like we are managing our day-to-day life things in proper way. Okay, the database administrators. Okay, one of the main role who are handling data, database admins. Then, so in that kind of environment, we are needed to manage them properly. So new term comes here, data management. Still not database management, right? Data management. So data management is a discipline that focuses on the proper generation, storage, and retrieval data. Generate, create, store. Everyone knows about them. Retrieval means get back, okay, of data. So then we have to start databases, right? So these are the things initially we mentioned about data and information, basic things, very basic things of computer science. And after that, we can start database. So database. So what is a database? Database is collection of related data. Right? And so we can see the different the terms which are used to explain what is database. Related to data. Related data. So what does it mean by related data? We will consider this example. The name. So here, for this example, read and understand this example. So here, so when considering this example, names are there and telephone numbers and their addresses. Okay. Here we are discussing about databases. Okay. Since we are discussing about databases, here how we can explain this according to this definition, right? For an example, then if you are keeping names of your contacts in one page or one folder or one file, then there should be only one name. So not one name, names. There should be only names are there. So names, and there are telephone numbers. And after that, when there are addresses in different pages, right? So think that okay, then if there are only names in one page, so we can't, okay, we can see their names and we can't understand any more information or that kind of things regarding to these names, their telephone numbers. If we can link these things, these pages, or if we can, sorry, think in physical world, there are physical 3 pages in some book. Okay, one book, one page has names. Another page has telephone number. Another page has addresses of your friends. So if they are in different places, so we can't understand some meaning then. Only names or only telephone numbers or only addresses will not produce any meaningful record or meaningful information. Understood? Okay. But if they have some relationship, then you can generate, as we said, you can have some meaningful information, then you can make decisions or you can understand them in proper way. So normally, so in databases, Okay, there are relationships, and so normally relationships are in between different tables, right? So one table, another table, right? And another table. So if we can connect them by using some criteria, some method, then you can make relationships in between them or make relationship in between that data. Okay, then it can be formed some database. So when you have these databases, so by using different queries, by using different methods, you can ask questions. You can make queries from this database. Then you can generate required information if the requested data are there. So these relationships are very important. So now you can understand why this definition is important and why all the names are important. The collection you can easily understand. And when you are connected, when you have linked them all together, you can make a collection easily. Okay, so you can see that here what every point you can see inserted data. Then in every cells there may be different data relationships, right? And then this is a collection, right? Then this one database. Okay, you can make notes regarding to important things, basic definition at the very first time you are studying about or learning about these points, then that could be very important for you. And we will provide these presentations and also recordings, all the recordings. You can access them through the Learn Now USA. Okay, but very important actively listening to these day schools. If you have any questions, you can send them over the chat. Then I can produce answers for them. So then these are some information attributes regarding to databases. And here you can see design, built, and populated data for specific purposes, users, and some preconceived applications. Users are interested. Database can be any size, varying complexity. Okay, then according to the task. Okay, then there could be very small, then small scale of databases. There could be very advanced databases. Okay, then here previously we mentioned about these things, and here we mentioned about databases. So I think slide sharing was paused before when explaining these things previously. Okay, so these are the things I explained. Okay, then query, someone is asking about what is query. That means it is asking asking questions from this database. Okay, by using different methods, different ways, different according to standard method, we can ask question database. Okay, you know that by using natural language, you can't ask questions, right? Then we have to follow the standard methods according to the database, MySQL or okay. Then you can use different languages, SQL, for ask questions. So that kind of questions we can basically call it as queries, right? And previously I discussed while the sharing the screen post. Then I discussed these things. Okay, what is database and why it is called them as related data, why it is called them as collection, why it is called them as database. I hope all of you can understand these things properly. If you have any doubts, you can send me over the chat. Okay. So normally, we know that in a database, okay, the data, then we can then isolated data can't be considered as a database because there should be proper relationships. Okay, then we will learn about them, how to make proper relationships in between some data blocks. So basic data blocks, we are using tables here. Okay, how make uh, relationship in between tables. We can learn them while we are going through the lesson, while we are going through this course uh, in step by step in proper way. Okay, then you will have to do a lot of activities at the end of the day. Okay, some of them are related to okay, SQL, some of them are related to ER diagrams. Okay, and this is not we have to do practical related activities. That means then that would be help you to understand these concepts proper way. Okay, this is just not a course or the subject which are mainly based on theories. We should know about theories, but okay, you have to go beyond that to understand the real world or real principles in database implementation. Yeah, then not only collecting data, collection of data, you can understand properly there should be proper connections for that. Then if there should, okay, for an example, if it doesn't have a connection in between one table to another, and here, if there is no connection in between one table to another, then this would be an isolated one. Okay, then this is work as a database. But when you are make queries, when you are asking questions from this database, it will not get data from this table when you have connect this table properly. Got that? In real way, when you are connecting your mic or when you are connecting your display to computer, there should be some ports. Okay, some ports or linking interfaces somewhere to somewhere. Then we have to connect these things in proper way. So we will learn these things later. Then you can understand there should be a proper connection or proper way of building, implementing, okay, implementing databases, database designs. That is our course. That is the main purpose of our course, how to implement these kind of databases. So before that, we are understanding just basic things and basic terminologies. Okay, every terms, okay, when I discussing about these things, you have to note down important terms, and after that you can easily search them and understand their meanings. So that would be important. These terminologies where hundreds about terminologies would be important for you to understand or describe or while you are writing answers in papers. You know that in every subject it is very important. Then these are the things. Okay, then you know that I use a very simple language for explain these things. If you hard to understand, you can ask them. And it is proper. It is better to understand everything at the session or at this day school. Okay, then after that, there would be other things you have to complete. Then focus 100% and understand. If you have any doubts, you can send me and ask questions. Then we were discussing about databases. Then after that, we have to study about then databases. There are very small databases, big databases. So there may be different scales, right? So to store some data or to handle these data, there is a processing part here. Why? Then think this is the database. Sorry, right. So if you are making database, they have to know about the way of implementing databases. Okay, then if you are again input data, then computer processor should be process these things, right? Processor means CPU, right? But this is when you are storing these things, normally think computer server. Server means the big computer these things are storing, right? There should be a space, GBs or TBs, the space measuring data. Then when you are get back, that means these are feeding or enter these or input data, right? So you know that now if there is database, there can be multiple databases. So you know that one database means a collection of related data. And after that, you can make queries to get full database or some part of database or required things. Okay, then they also should be displayed somewhere. So you can understand that. So small databases, it is enough small resources. Resources means I told that these things, hardware things, processors, hard disks, kind of small scale resources would be enough. But if you handle large databases like Google, okay, so there should be have multiple processors, multiple backups. Backups means copies. Okay, if one server is not working, these are basic IT, IC, or computer science related things. When handling number of users, okay, when multiple users are asking same thing or different things, there should be ways for displaying things. So here we are talking about database. Now you know that according to the scale of the database, that means according to the number of users and according to the task which is performing, then scale of the database can be different. Hope you can understand these things. Okay. So that is the thing discussing here these slides in these slides. So names, telephone numbers, addresses. It is very simple structure. Okay. Then while considering large library or comparatively bigger than the personal files, got that? There may be multiple users, maybe hundreds or thousands. Then there should be previously I told that there should be proper resources for handling that database. So database, you can understand, okay, to handle databases. Another thing very important, then you should know there should be what? Software and hardware. Hardware, we told that. Physical things, what? CPU, other kind of things, or then other display units, right? And RAMs or other storage, the basic things, huh? But some students are still struggling with these basic concepts. So some are struggling with language, but we are using very simple language to explain these things. And hope you can properly in very clear way. Okay. Then that means mic settings and sound settings. We are trying to keep them in very standard, high standard way to proper understanding the things in proper way. Hardware. We discussed about hardware, and so then here I told that here via the DBMS or database management system. Or now word is coming here, database management system DB. And you will learn about these things. So, but there it is containing software and hardware. Here we were discussing about library management system. What you see in the software and how you can handle these things are related to software. But while you are handling, we have software need to access hardware things. Okay, after changing data, after generating data, that should be stored that storage. And when you are using software to make queries, when you're asking questions or get data from the database, you can use the software, but finally the query goes to storage and okay, then comes into the compute and the computer display, and that means RAM, you know the process. I'm not going to explain the way that data are going through and how data comes, that means the data flow. What finally software can display, should be able to display it. Then you can understand these things. Categories, primary or the last name, subject, title, each category organized alphabetical order. So I told that different methods, algorithms, standards should be followed to handle these things properly. To do these activities properly, it has to follow some proper activities. Other thing is the record and complex structures or records. Previously, we mentioned that so one related. So when we considering so your record means your name, date of birth, an address. So one student record, okay, then student. So all the data when display together or when accessed together, then all of them we can consider as records. And normally in a table, you know that what is called as record, right? So these are records, right? So this is a different record. This is another record. So, these are related data. There are different complex structures. So here we are discussing about basic structures. Another thing, manually or computerized. In our course, mainly we are focusing on manual things, right? So manual things, not computerized things. And so manual things are done using books or logbooks kind of things, and manually it can be have handles, right? Files, there should be real files, cardboard files, cardboard folders, kind of things. Got that? They are manual concepts, right? After that, okay, then there are what are the things there should be papers, okay, cardboards, cupboards, lockers, cabinets, kind of things can be there. So manual database management system, right? There are no software, there are no computers in manual databases. Then you can understand what is a concept of database. It can be manual, it can be computerized or electronic one. Okay, database, okay, different databases. Then this is cardboard files in computerized databases also. Then there may be what? Digital files, digital folders. Okay, then other digital resources we mentioned. Hope you can understand the differences. But they are a little bit parallel, right? But if you have a manual database, like a manual database library in your school or university, then if you need it, you can convert these things into digital files, and you can convert these folders into digital folders, and you can generate, you can implement, you can create this database. Before implementing there, it should be designed. Hope you can understand the difference in between design and implementation. Design means you can draw or you can plan that. Okay, then you can when you are implementing, you have to follow proper instructions, proper methods to implement that, right? So always you have to understand terminologies, what you do, what you studying, why this is important. All things are important. Then that when you know about these things in proper way, when you can understand these things, this would be very simple course. So while we are managing data, then other concepts. When you have data, when you manage data, then you should be handle that in you should be able to handle that in efficient way. Got that? And so then how efficient, why efficient, you have to focus with that. Then there should be questions and you can search for. There should be error feed. Okay, there shouldn't be errors there. If there are errors, or if it is taking more time, we can't to produce some records or information. So if there are errors, so if it is taking more time to process them, if it is making wrong output, so we can't consider it as efficient one. So while you are designing these databases, you have to be careful about these things. So we mentioned about definitions. Okay. And here metadata, data about data, stored database definitions, right? And new word comes here, right? Metadata. It provides the description of the data's characteristics and the set of relationships that link the data found within the database. So previously we mentioned that. Okay, then there are data in different tables. We can connect them. Okay. Then so in addition to initial data, there could be, so these are, so to implement this database, there should be initial data. So they are data. Okay. But that data is describing. When you are giving definitions, you can call them as metadata. So that means when data describing furthermore, that would be metadata. Characteristics, data types maybe, data maximum, most, minimum capacity. Okay, then data relationships, defining relationships, describing relationships, set limits of relationships within the database. Then they would be called as metadata. I will provide an example. After that, you will be able to understand these things properly. So this is the basic thing you should understand, the difference in between data and metadata. Simple thing you have to understand, data about data. That means you have, when it is describing data in proper way, addition to data, they also should be data. We can call them as metadata. A definition regarding to metadata, and we will yes, we are uploading recordings to LMS. You may access recordings, okay, after a day school, okay, after 1 or 2 days, you may be able to access databases. So one simple example regarding to data. Okay, then this data, then when considering purely 21 is data. So 21 is data. So describing that data regarding to that data, we can call as age as metadata. Right? Okay, then there should be a age range or other kind of things. Hope you can understand differences. Previously, we mentioned about information. Hope you know the difference in between data and metadata, right? Then metadata, we mentioned that data about data and provide more data on the on about data. Okay. Then database management systems. Okay, please now we discussed about data, metadata. Now we know about what is database, what are relationships. There should be relationships in between objects or the table in between tables of database. Now we know basically what is a query. Okay. When we have connected tables or files together, okay, we can ask one question. Okay. When you ask one question, when you ask one query, okay, it will access all the connected tables and it will produce the required output to you. Got that? When you search something on, for an example, when you search something on Google, something Google, okay, it is not producing all the things from one table or one database. Okay, then there are various relationships, connections in between different data tables or databases. Finally, it can produce data, but display the things. But here we are not follow any proper query methods, standards. We are just searching things by using natural language. So that is also a query, but that is a normal, a natural question. But databases, you can't, in database environment, that means in database software or database management systems, this is a software. You can't use that kind of natural things in most of database management systems, database management environments. Then you should know about proper way of asking questions, proper way of asking, generate or produce queries. Then you should know about proper languages, SQL kind of thing. Here we are learning about these things in this course. Just a definition and an introduction or describe the DBMS. Okay, then here you can users can create or maintain databases. So mainly you should understand it is a software system that facilitates the process of defining, constructing, and manipulating databases for various applications. Defining. Okay, before that constructing, before that create, okay, we have to proper way to define them. You will learn these things later. For an example, in day-to-day life, Okay, then while you are starting this course, okay, you are defining this is the database management or database design and implementation. Okay, there may be CAT exams. After that, there may be final law. There may be, okay, before that, there may be practical exams. Then here, okay, then that is 2 credits or 3 credit course, maybe. Then, so we are giving definition for the course, but you have to work on that. After that, you have to learn, okay? You have to construct that database. Then when you have some data, constructing means we are creating, we are inputting data, we are inputting tables, we are making relationships. Even after constructing that, even after data, even after you have in the database, but sometimes you may need to delete some parts of database. Sometimes you may need to change them. Then you are needed to manage them. So managing, this is a simple, the managing is a simple term for manipulating. So here, building, constructing, creating. Before that, you are giving definition. That means a basic, very initial basic things before need to do. So you have to define that what you're going to do according to database and standards. Here we are talking about database management system. You have to define things according to the system. Okay, after defining things proper way, system should be able to understand. Because of why? You are defining the things according to the system. You are defining things according to the environment. Then when you define them in proper way, you can construct properly. When you have properly go through these activities, then you can manage them proper way. So what are the basic things you have to do? You can define these things: data types, structures, constraints for the data to be stored in the database. Data types, what are the data types? And integers, maybe integers. Okay, they may be Boolean, these things. Right? Structures and relationships, kind of things. Constraints. That means constraint basically regarding to rules. So what kind of rules, or what is the primary key, what is the foreign key, kind of basic constraints are there. So how, what are the types of relationships? Constructing a database. Next one, we discuss these things. And we discussed what kind of storage mediums can be nowadays. Okay, then you had people are using cloud platforms, physical local storage mediums. You should know different types of storage mediums which are used in DBMSs. Hope you know about what is server. You know these things, right? What is a client computer? Normal users are using these kind of computers, right? The server means Google server or other kind of, that means main or larger computers. Then clients are connected with server by using what? Internet, right? Internet connection. Then they can get, when you ask something, then you can use keyboard and type and ask something, and it can use what? Your monitor and send that data and display it. If you have the access. Basic things. Okay. Hope you know about these things. Then you can understand. So client is also a one user, right? So database server, then admin, another user, right? But it can admin can change manipulate the database. Got that? Normally, only the admins are able to manipulate the database. The users, so they can manage, but their own databases, not main databases. Normal users can what? Most of so view their databases in websites also. Okay, it is when it is displaying data, teachers can display that data. For an example, in Open University website, okay, if it is okay, they are storing all the information in tables. Your course data, information, credits, or your results, for an example. They are stored in some table. Okay. While you are studying 3 or 4 years in the university, they are updating records or table kind of thing. Then students, users, you can't change them. They can create, construct, mainly manage admins, maybe lecturers or other kind of admin level staff in the university. Okay, if you are needed, you can make a query. That what? Finally, you can ask what? Display my records or my results. Okay, then you can make queries. But admins can make queries for what? Delete some user profile, or that kind of task can be handled. Different privileges, we will tell them later. Different roles. Query. Now you know these things. Updating. So normally admins can generate data, reports. You know that when you have input accurate data, then you can generate good information, then it can able to make good decisions, basic things, right? Database system. So new term, this is not database management system. Hope you can understand, then you can understand the difference. I told that mainly the database management system is what like, this is a software. Example, basic example. Microsoft Access, basic one, you know that. After that, we will learn about other things or MySQL or other kind of standards we are using in our databases, Oracle, other kind of things. So it is the software. You can see the interface, you can handle data, you can use different languages. But here database, related data. After that, okay, you know that after there should be some stored data in the database. That hardware resources, there should be data. Then by using software interface, you can update these things, you can create these things or update these things, you can change these things, you can delete these things. You can easily handle them by using the software. You know you are using maybe queries sometimes, but sometimes there may be then normally in my MS Access you are no needed to use queries. Mainly, yeah, there are also queries. But you can use some what interfaces, UI, user interfaces. That means what? Some buttons, okay, menus. You can perform. Then that is the way you can handle the database. So anyway, so when you are collected database and database management system together, you can call them as what? Database system. Here, database design. Design is the what? Design of the database structure that will be used to store and manage data, rather than the design of the database software. Okay, then database structure you can draw or you can plan the way. After that, you can handle them. Database design. And database design. So once the database design is completed, database handles all the complicated activities required to translate designer the views of structures into structures that are usable in computer. You can understand that, okay, the design is done by one person or group of person. That is like a plan. Okay, then it can be designed using flowcharts. You know, it is the basic way you can use. You can design a database, right? After that, you have to produce the database after designing, after planning, database planning, system defining, or other kind of things. Then it can be produced database. Here you can see there are life cycle, little bit complex life cycle. So designing, evaluation, selection, and logical database design, physical design. Okay, logical means software related things, physical hardware related things. Okay, after that, finally building, creating part. Okay, after that, data should be loaded. Then it should be tested. Okay, then after that, operate or manage. At the very beginning, requirement should be analyzed. What are the things? So, like a project. Okay, it's like a project. Design plans means you can perform that using different ways. So sometimes you can draw something in different software. You can plan that. Database design. You may use different standards while you are designing a database. Okay, but this database designing, when you are designing these things, so you can follow different methods, different approaches to design a database. After that, you have to implement. You have to input, feed all of these things, data into the database management system in proper way. You have to learn about these things too. ER diagrams. So you can understand that. We discuss about database system, a database design. And this is an example. We discussed these things. We told that we are inserting, we should be able to input what? Proper data into the system. What you mainly see on the screen, it is the software that is what? Database management system, DBMS. Got that? When you input data, okay, that software can be so then database structure can be managed like this way. So different data can be stored in different databases or different tables. So this can be one database. Yeah. Then there can be different tables. Got that? Then it should be what? Created relationships in between these fields. Relationships. Then other users here, this person can be the, or maybe we will think this person as the admin, or he can handle mainly this database, and other users, these are maybe users. So database, these things are located in a server, and they can ask for them and get back required things if the requested thing available in the database. Okay, we talked about the accuracy, other kind of things. Or then you can understand this is a process. Okay, all the parts, all the steps, defining, constructing, manipulation parts should be performed in proper way to complete this task successfully. And okay, then when you have a proper database and proper this kind of system, then users may have access these things, databases, and they can get services from required services from the database. Okay, now you can read these things and understand these things properly. How many questions you may send your questions? Okay, then next thing we have to understand is what is redundant data? Data redundancy. Redundant. What is redundant data? This is unnecessary duplicated data. So what does it mean by that? The data copies, then unwanted copies, same data, same entity in different locations. Why it is considered as a problem or inconsistency in a database? Why? Redundancy exists. Then here, this is an example. So here for this example, customer then focusing about customer telephone number, then that can be stored in a customer file, sales agent file, and invoice file. So if the telephone number in all these files, the same telephone number, it would be a problem. But it is easy to do that. But when you are having customer table, then you can insert telephone number there. Then other thing, sales agent, he also can insert customer telephone number there. And invoice table, customer telephone number. Then other thing, if you are needed to delete customer telephone number, then you should be able to delete all the tables, all the fields of it. Or if you are needed to make one change, then you can understand that the customer telephone number, okay, we can keep in one place, maybe in customer information or customer table. Then after that, when you are needed to insert that customer telephone number in the sales agent table, what should you do? Then you have to use different methods, different ways to insert by using different techniques. You don't need to copy paste that thing. You can make relationship in between this record and that relevant record of the customer, and you can insert or you can link them in proper way. You can link them proper way by using different keys. Then that is the way of avoiding redundancy. Here we are discussing about how redundancy is making systems less efficient, right? We have to avoid them from the beginning, from the designing step of the database, and also while implementing database. So can produce incorrect data entries. Incorrect will not know value is the correct one, and report might be yield different results because of why. So if there may be different records or different data in different or the same field in different tables. Yeah, I will ask some questions. Okay, can you write answers for these things, or can you find answers for these things, or can you so by going through these questions, you may understand whether you have understand the lesson or not. Okay, I will give 5 minutes. After that, I will continue from the from next slide for the next presentation. Okay, we have done the very basic and introduction part. Okay, we got a little time more to understand these things. Okay, now when you know about the basic things, we can go through other parts very quickly. Okay, the next part is history of databases. And actually, history means that how it began and the basic things, actually, again, right? Computer files and file systems. So we should know about what is a file system, right? And we should know about and files can be kept organized inside of computer system in different approaches. You know that so file system means what? Collection of some objects or collection of some objects. That means a collection of files can be considered as a file system. Then after that we have to focus about the file system architecture, how it is design and implement kind of things. Then before that, then here then there are manual file systems and also digital file systems. Previously, I told that what is a file system. In general definition, we know that what is a system. System means collection of components. When there are many components and they can build a system finally in files also. Then we already know there are two types, and manual file system and computerized file systems. Here we told that these things from the beginning. Now we can go through these sections very quickly. Okay, then we know about manual file systems. We mentioned that what are manual files, then how you can produce manual folders. So we mentioned examples, right? Because I think about that previously mentioned library example, if it is needed to convert manual file system of library into computerized file system, what you should do. And here this example, and doctor office might have what manual data of patients. Even nowadays they are they are maintaining manual data. That means writing on uh, papers and keeping in them on files. Okay. Then if it is needed to access history of the patient, it is needed to go through all of these that kind of papers one by one. They can't search or make queries on the database since they are having a manual database. But even managing a manual database, there are also maybe different techniques of managing a database by making subfolders or files and different files, making copies of them. Okay, then it should be can we handle these manual file systems also a proper way? But we know that when it is compared with computerized system, it is a complex. It is a less efficient thing. Anyway, so we mentioned that manual file system is difficult. Why reasons? Time consuming, kind of accuracy, or kind of things can be. And then other thing is harder to produce reports, report generation, very time consuming, and after that, again, manual system, conversion of the manual system into a computer system, again complex. So moving manual to computer file systems. Again, that data should be inserted into computer system, that means database management system. Again, taking more time. Again, when it is converting data into computerized system, it is needed data processing specialist. That means different, you have to hire different maybe outsource different people from different organizations. Data processing specialist, what are the things that he can do? Create necessary computer file structures, write software that manage data within those structures, building software, that means, and design application programs that produces reports here. So do not worry about the name of this term. Okay, that's a designation or role is related to databases. Okay, think our database and admin or that kind of role or programmer. Then he should be able to plan these kind of or achieve these kind of tasks. Okay, look at this contents of customer file. Okay, you can consider this as a, if needed, we can consider this as a manual file or computerized in digital system file. So basic things regarding to this file, we are discussing about computer files. So we already mentioned that what are data, then data can be found in each cell. After that, fields, different fields can be found there. And records, we mentioned that these kind of things are records, can be considered as records. After that, finally, file can be considered as what? Then a collection of records can be considered as file. One or multiple records can be found here. Okay, when you collect them together, we can consider it as a file. So they are the definition. So you know about field names. So why it is naming these fields like this way? Why it is not keeping spaces in between these two words? And why it is using this kind of underscore sign in between two words? Okay, you have to search them and understand them. Okay, that is the way we are forming fields in a databases. So you know that we are making queries. Okay, then to make queries, then the consistence of, then way of creating these fields would be important to handle that kind of queries in efficient way. I told that the same kind of file, this can be a manual file. You can draw or implement in a manual system. After that, if DP or data processing specialist needed to be convert these things into computerized things, then he has to follow different techniques or steps. Then when you have these records in a computer digital system, okay, in a database management system, then it can produce some reports, or you can handle, you can process new data, new information from these things by accessing these things. If you already have a database management system, you can perform that. But if you don't have a database management system, okay, it should be build that kind of system. Then only you can do these kind of things. To build that kind of database management system, okay, you are needed to hire, or you should get the help of a person who knows about that kind of things. There should be resources. So now you know the way you can convert manual files into digital files, and the way you should produce them. What are the ways that you should generate fields, records, and what is called as finally file, and the reason for labeling these fields in this way. So they are very important to understand. You have to search that, you have to learn about why you are not using this kind of lengthy field names. So it would be harder to make queries and handle the databases. It would take more what space from the databases capacity. So that kind of reasons may be there, and there shouldn't be spaces in between two words. So remove the spaces. You can use underscore sign. So these are other background related data and example related things. Here files, customer file. When you have the customer file, you can produce reports. Sales file, same thing, agent file, that kind of things. You know that files containing what kind of things? Fields, okay, records, all that kind of things. And when you are producing the file, you have to produce them, that fields or that field names, labels, we mention them in proper way. Why? They would be affected upcoming activities or future activities in the database. Because of the system uses this data. It should be able to access this data, handle this data in proper way. That's why it is tell in this way, each of files in system uses its own application programs to store, retrieve, and modify data. You know, retrieving, meaning of the retrieving, get back data from the database. We know that database management system, DBMS. So when database is growing, when there is more amount of data, then specialists or the programmers needed to be handle these things in proper way. So then there may be different, multiple number of specialists or programmers would work on different databases. So there may be a manager also, then the leader or other kind of persons roles in the group. Okay, then they are the things we can cover in the first session. Okay, since it is the first session, we have gone through like this way and we started slowly. We build terminologies and basic concepts in slowly, and after that we studied a lot of things. And here, the last things are here, file system and data management. We have to discuss about these things in the next session. I think it would start also will be conducted today. And structure dependence, data dependence, data redundancy. We have to study more about these things. Okay, if you have any questions, you may ask. Okay, then these things would be published in LMS, yeah, after 1-2 days, and presentations and recordings. Okay, මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න පුළුවන්. මැසේජ් එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්. හරි, ඊළඟ සෙෂන් එක අපිට කීයටද තියෙන්නේ? I think 3:30. Yes, 3:30 to 5:30. Yes. Okay. Since there are no questions, we are going to end the meeting for now. Okay. After that, we will continue from 3:30. Okay. Thank you.